Stop blaming your age. I mean it. Whatever you've been telling yourself, it's just getting older. Oh, this is normal. There's nothing I can do about it. I need you to hear this right now. That story isn't true. And I say that not as someone reading from a script, but as someone who has spent over 20 years sitting across from men just like you, watching them reclaim something they thought was gone forever. I'm Dr. Claire Weston, and I've been specializing in men's health for more than 2 decades. I've worked with hundreds of men over 60 across the country, from guys in small towns in the Midwest to retirees down in Florida. And I can tell you with complete confidence that the number one thing stealing your circulation, your energy, and your confidence downstairs isn't your age. It's what you're eating or not eating in the first hour after you wake up. There's a breakfast trap that I'd estimate 9 out of 10 men over 60 fall into every single day. And it's quietly destroying pelvic circulation without you even knowing it. Most guys don't realize that their breakfast either supports healthy blood flow to the groin or gradually restricts it. What you put on your plate in the morning is one of the most powerful decisions you make all day. More powerful than any pill, any prescription, anything that billion-dollar pharmaceutical industry has been trying to sell you. Here's the truth. Your body wants to restore circulation. It wants to work the way it used to, but only if you give it the right tools. And those tools aren't in a bottle, they're in your kitchen. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 specific morning foods that can improve blood flow, strengthen the muscles in your pelvic region, and bring back the kind of confidence you maybe haven't felt in years. No side effects, no prescriptions, just real food working with your biology the way nature intended. Stay with me all the way through, because I promise you, the information in this video could genuinely change your mornings, and a whole lot more than that. Before we dive in, if this kind of content speaks to you, go ahead and hit subscribe and ring the bell. I put out tips specifically designed for men over 60 every week, and I don't want you to miss any of it. And after you watch, drop a number in the comments. Write 1 if this resonates with you, write 0 if it didn't, and tell me why. I read every single one. Your feedback is how I make this content better for you and for everyone watching. All right, let's get into it. The first food is one you probably already have sitting in your fridge right now. Something you've had your whole life, maybe even pushed aside for the wrong reasons. I'm talking about whole eggs. And I mean the whole egg, yolk and all. I can't count how many men have come into my office over the years, frustrated and embarrassed, not knowing where to turn. And almost every time I ask about their morning routine, I get the same answer. Dr. Weston, I just grab a coffee. Maybe some toast, if I'm not running late. What they don't realize is that at this stage of life, their body is starving for specific nutrients from the moment they open their eyes. And one of the most powerful sources of those nutrients has been sitting in their fridge the whole time. Now, I know eggs got a bad reputation for a while. Cholesterol fears, old science, decades of confusing headlines. But let me be direct with you. If you're a man over 60 and you're not eating whole eggs regularly, you're leaving one of nature's most effective tools for restoring blood flow completely on the table. The secret is in the yolk. That deep golden center is loaded with vitamin D, B12, choline, and an amino acid called leucine. And leucine is remarkable. It triggers muscle repair, including in the deep, often overlooked muscles of the pelvic floor. These are the same muscles that support erections, control urinary flow, and keep you feeling steady and strong as you move through the day. When blood flow slows with age, these muscles are some of the first to feel it. But when you feed them right, especially first thing in the morning, your body responds. You feel more stable. You notice fewer cramps. You start feeling more like yourself in intimate moments, not because of a pill, because your blood is actually flowing again. Let me tell you about a patient of mine, a guy named Robert. He came to see me at 68, and the look on his face when he walked in, I've seen that look 100 times. Defeated. Like he'd already made his peace with things not working the way they used to. He told me it had been close to 2 years. Dr. Weston, he said, I wake up in the morning and nothing happens. I figured that chapter of my life was just over. I told him what I'm telling you right now. I said, Robert, forget everything you think you know for a month. Just start your mornings with 2 whole eggs. Boiled, scrambled, overseas, doesn't matter. Just commit to it for 4 weeks. He gave me a look like I'd suggested he try magic beans. But he did it anyway. 3.5 weeks later, my phone rings, and I knew from the first word who it was. His voice was completely different, almost giddy. He said, "Doc, I don't know what you did, but I woke up this morning feeling like I was back in my 40s. And what stuck with me was what he said next. It wasn't just about the physical. He said, "It's the confidence. It's feeling like myself again." That's what this is really about, not just circulation, identity. The second food is one I recommend to almost every single patient I see struggling with sluggish circulation. And it might surprise you with how simple it is. Oatmeal with chia seeds. Every time I see a man in my office dealing with poor circulation, weak erections, or that persistent heavy feeling in the lower body, one of the first things I ask isn't about their medications. It's about breakfast. And more often than not, either there isn't one or it's loaded with sugar and empty carbs, the stuff that spikes your blood sugar and then leaves you crashing by 10 a.m. What I recommend instead might sound almost too simple, but a warm bowl of oatmeal topped with chia seeds has genuinely transformed lives. I've watched it happen. Oatmeal is a powerful ally for aging arteries. It contains a specific fiber called beta-glucan, which not only helps lower cholesterol, but actually helps clean the walls of your blood vessels. That means more oxygen-rich blood reaching critical areas, including your pelvis and groin. For men over 60, that kind of circulation support isn't optional. It's essential. Now add chia seeds, and something really interesting happens. These little seeds, and I know they seem almost too small to matter, are packed with omega-3 fatty acids, magnesium, and potassium. These are the nutrients that help your blood vessels relax, reduce chronic inflammation, and allow smoother, stronger blood flow throughout your body. This isn't just good for your heart. It directly impacts your ability to achieve and maintain a healthy erection. I had a patient, a retired school teacher from Ohio named Walter, who came to me after retirement feeling like his body had just started shutting down. Low energy, trouble getting up the stairs, his relationship with his wife quietly suffering. I convinced him to swap his bowl of sugary cereal for oatmeal with chia seeds, fresh blueberries, and a good shake of cinnamon. 2 weeks later, his legs felt lighter. A month in, he was sleeping better, waking up with more energy, and yes, noticing benefits in the bedroom too. He laughed when he told me, "Doc, I genuinely did not think a bowl of oatmeal was going to be the answer." But here's the thing. What you eat in the morning sets the tone for your blood flow all day long. That warm, intentional bowl of food is telling your arteries it's safe to open up. It's time to do your job. Before we get to number 3, I want to hear from all of you. Drop your city and state in the comments. I love knowing where people are watching from. I've got folks tuning in from everywhere, Texas, Michigan, the Carolinas, even internationally. And it genuinely means a lot to me to make that connection with you. Now, food number 3. This one might make you laugh a little. It definitely made my patient laugh. I'm talking about watermelon. I still remember the look on my friend Bill's face. He was a longtime patient, 66, former construction foreman from Georgia. When I told him to start eating watermelon in the mornings, he straight up laughed at me, said, "Doc, that's summer cookout food. What's that gonna do?" What he didn't know, and what most men don't know, is that watermelon is one of the most underrated tools in nature for restoring blood flow, particularly in the places that matter most for men our patients' age. Watermelon is packed with an amino acid called L-citrulline. Once it's in your body, it converts to L-arginine, which then boosts nitric oxide, the same compound that opens your blood vessels and lets more blood reach your groin. And here's the part that really gets people's attention. This is the exact same biological pathway that popular erectile dysfunction drugs work through. The difference is you're fueling it with food, not pharmaceuticals. No script required, no side effects. Just pure circulation support straight from your breakfast plate. I've had patients tell me they started noticing greater sensitivity and stronger morning erections within just a week of adding watermelon to their routine. Bill called me 2 weeks after our conversation and said, "I don't know if it's the watermelon or just the fact that I'm actually eating breakfast now, but something is definitely waking up down there." We both had a good laugh about that, but he wasn't imagining it. The citrulline was doing exactly what it's supposed to do, opening blood vessels and restoring vitality to his lower body. For best results, eat watermelon on an empty stomach or just before your main breakfast. A couple of slices is enough. And here's a tip that most people don't know. Don't throw away the white rind. That part actually has the highest concentration of citrulline. You can blend it into a smoothie or just chew it lightly. It's not sweet, I'll be honest with you, but your circulation will absolutely thank you. If you've been looking for a natural, zero-cost way to feel more alive and more energized downstairs, watermelon might be the most refreshing tool you've been overlooking. Food number 4 is the one that gets the most surprised reactions in my office, and I totally understand why. Sweet potatoes, specifically steamed sweet potato with a pinch of Celtic sea salt. Hear me out. Once you understand what's happening in your body in those first minutes after waking up, this makes complete sense. After 6 to 8 hours without food, your muscles, and including the ones in your legs, your pelvis, and yes, even the tissue involved in sexual function, are operating on essentially empty. Your blood vessels need minerals, your muscles need glycogen, and your nervous system is craving balance. Half a steamed sweet potato with a pinch of unrefined Celtic sea salt can be exactly the morning stabilizer your whole lower body has been waiting for. Sweet potatoes are rich in complex carbohydrates, the kind that don't spike your blood sugar but give your muscles clean, steady energy to function properly throughout the day. And when you add Celtic salt, not regular table salt, but unrefined Celtic sea salt, which carries over 80 essential trace minerals, you're giving your body the tools it needs to retain proper hydration, regulate nerve impulses, and maintain healthy blood pressure without the crash. These minerals support muscle contractions, optimize circulation, and maintain nerve sensitivity, the kind of sensitivity that tends to quietly fade with age when we're not paying attention. I had a patient, a 71-year-old guy named Thomas from right outside of Nashville, who'd been waking up every morning with heavy, numb legs and a deep ache in his groin. He'd tried stretches, massages, even the medications his doctor prescribed. Nothing stuck. I suggested he try something simple before his usual breakfast. Half a steamed sweet potato, a glass of warm water, and just a touch of mineral-rich salt. He thought I was joking. "That's it?" he said. "That's your solution." 3 days later, he called me. "Doc, I don't know what's going on, but my legs feel lighter. I'm not grabbing the nightstand just to get myself out of bed in the morning." 3 days, that's it. There's something deeply grounding about starting your day with real food. Food your body actually recognizes. Food that isn't fighting your biology but working with it. Sweet potatoes may seem humble, but when eaten the right way at the right time, they quietly and powerfully restore the kind of circulation and mineral balance your body has been missing. Now, I want to pause here for a second and speak to all of you who've made it this far. Because I see you in the comments every week. You're 63, 67, 72 years old. Some of you are dealing with this alone. Some of you have never even said any of this out loud to anyone. Not your doctor, not your wife, not your best friend. And I want you to know that is more common than you can imagine. This stuff doesn't come up at the barbecue or at the golf course. Men don't talk about it, but they think about it every single day. I've read comments from guys in their 70s saying things like, "I figured this chapter of my life was just closed." And that breaks my heart because based on everything I've seen over 20 plus years of practice, that chapter is not closed, not even close. I've watched men in their late 60s, their 70s, even into their 80s genuinely transform their energy, their intimacy, and their sense of self just by making intentional changes at breakfast. So if you've been thinking, "I'm past the point where any of this matters," I need you to hear me clearly. You're not. The body is remarkably responsive when you give it what it needs, and most of the time what we've surrendered isn't our physical ability. It's our belief that change is still possible. That belief is worth fighting for. Now, food number 5, and I want to be straight with you here because you deserve honesty, not a bait and switch. Food number 5 is beet juice, and I know raw beets, beet juice, not exactly the most glamorous thing on the breakfast table. But stick with me because the research on this is genuinely impressive. Beets are one of the richest natural sources of dietary nitrates available. When you consume those nitrates, your body converts them directly into nitric oxide, and same pathway as the watermelon we talked about, but with a different mechanism and a slightly different timing. Beet juice tends to work faster in some people, and the effects on blood pressure and blood flow have been documented in multiple peer-reviewed studies on older adults. For men over 60, The combination of beet juice alongside the other foods we've discussed creates a kind of circulation synergy. The eggs are repairing and feeding your pelvic floor muscles. The oatmeal and chia are cleaning and relaxing your arterial walls. The watermelon is opening your blood vessels through one nitric oxide pathway, and the beet juice is reinforcing that effect through another. Meanwhile, the sweet potato is stabilizing your energy and nerve function, so everything else can actually work. A patient of mine, a retired firefighter from outside of Chicago named Ed, 69 years old, added a small glass of beet juice to his morning routine after we talked. He'd already been eating eggs and oatmeal for a few weeks and was noticing some improvement. But adding the beet juice was, in his words, like somebody turned up the volume. His energy in the gym picked back up. The heaviness in his lower body that had been his constant companion for years started to ease. His wife noticed the difference before he even fully did. "Doc," he told me at his next visit, "I feel like I've got my engine back." That's what this is about. Not just circulation and isolation, the whole engine, your stamina, your confidence, the way you move through your day, the way you show up for the people you love. So here's where we are. You now know 5 specific morning foods: whole eggs, oatmeal with chia seeds, watermelon, steamed sweet potato with Celtic salt, and beet juice that can work together to restore blood flow, support pelvic muscle function, reduce inflammation in your arteries, and bring genuine vitality back to parts of your body that may have felt distant for longer than you'd like to admit. These aren't fads. They're not gimmicks. They're not some 30-day challenge you'll abandon by week 2. They're real foods that speak directly to the biology of a man over 60. And the best part is, you don't have to overhaul your entire life. You just have to start. Tomorrow morning, pick one. Maybe it's 2 eggs with the yolk. Maybe it's a warm bowl of oatmeal with chia seeds, some blueberries and cinnamon. Maybe you grab a couple slices of watermelon before your coffee. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to do all 5 at once. You just need to begin. Because what you eat in that first hour after waking up is one of the most powerful decisions you make all day for your circulation, your confidence, and your independence. No more skipping breakfast. No more grabbing just coffee and running out the door. No more telling yourself it doesn't matter. It matters enormously. Your blood vessels are most receptive in the morning. Your muscles are ready to take in nutrients. This is the window where you can break the cycle and start rebuilding what time has been slowly taking away. You might not feel dramatic changes overnight, and I want to be honest about that. Real change takes consistency, but stay with it. In a few days, you could feel more energy in your legs, more warmth, more life in your lower body, more strength in your steps, better sleep, and something you may not have felt in a long time: genuine optimism when you wake up in the morning. I've said this to many men sitting across from me, and I'll say it to all of you now. Aging doesn't take your strength. It only takes what you're willing to surrender. And most of the time, what we surrender isn't our bodies. It's our belief that we can still change. I'm here to tell you, and you absolutely can. The question is simple. Will you take that first step tomorrow morning? Or will you let another day go by, waiting for something to change on its own? If this video opened your eyes even a little, do me a favor. Hit the like button so more men like you can find this message. Share it with someone who needs to hear it: a brother, a father, a buddy from work, a guy you know who's been quietly struggling. And subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. I've got more real talk on men's health over 60 that I think you're really going to find useful. And after you watch, I genuinely want to hear from you. Type 1 in the comments if you found this valuable. Type 0 if you didn't, and tell me how I can do better. Tell me your city and state. Tell me which food you're going to start with tomorrow. Tell me about the progress you're making after a week or 2. I will read it, and I'll respond when I can. Because this community of people who are still showing up, still fighting, still believing change is possible. That's everything. You're not in this alone. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you in the next one.